Good morning everyone, it's Lucinda here at Peak Wildlife Park. So as you can't visit us at the moment, we would like to bring to you our all new breakfast show. So first of all, I'm going to walk round to Mike, who's at the Meerkats, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about our Meerkats. So let's head round. So we're joined by Claire and Wendy. Hi guys. And we are almost here. So this is Mike everyone, he's just at the Meerkat, so he's going to tell you a little bit more about our Meerkats and give them their breakfast this morning.
Okay, so morning everybody. So we're just here to give our Meerkats their little morning breakfast. So we've got a nice little happy mob of 7 Meerkats here. They're all still hiding a little bit. It's been quite rainy in the night, so they're still not sure about coming out. They're a little bit cold, but they'll soon come out as soon as we can see we've got some tasty treats for them. So whilst you're all digging into your Pop-Tarts and Lucky Charms this morning, we've got a nice little slightly alternative breakfast for our Meerkats here. We've got a nice little mix. We've got some fruit and vegetables in there, some sweet corn, we've got some live mealworms there for these guys, so that's one of their favourites. They'll really enjoy them. We've also got some cat biscuits mixed in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just scatter this feed out for these guys, and as you see, they'll slowly start to make their way over to have a little nibble. So what we're doing, we're trying to sort of mimic the diet that they would live on if they were living in the wild. So obviously Meerkats don't have access to carrots and cat biscuits and that in the wild, but they do have access to lots of different forms of protein and vegetation. So we try and mimic that. The truth is they're actually scavenger animals. They will eat pretty much anything they can get their hands on. Obviously these guys live in the desert. In the desert you can't always be too picky about what you eat, because you don't know where your next meal's coming from. So they will eat pretty much anything. They'll eat birds, they'll eat scorpions, they'll eat snakes. They'll eat plants, they'll eat absolutely everything and anything that they can get their hands on. So that's what we do here. We try and mimic what the diet would be. So obviously the fruit and vegetables mimics the natural vegetation. The cat biscuits provides them with the protein they need. So this is more of a sort of family-friendly breakfast that I'm giving them this morning. We will also throughout the day, these guys will have mice and they will have chicks, so they get a lot of protein in the diet, very similar to what they would be eating naturally. We aren't giving them that this morning because obviously you guys are enjoying your breakfast yourselves, and seeing a meerkat tear a chick or a mouse apart can really put you off your marmite. So what we're doing this morning, we're just giving them this nice family-friendly breakfast, which as you can see they don't mind. They are perfectly happy munching away here.
If you guys have got any questions for Mike, please just pop it in the comments below and I'll ask it for you.
So you can see what I'm doing here. We aren't feeding our meerkats in a bowl. What I'm doing, I'm spreading this food all around the enclosure, scattering it around and hiding it about the place. And this is really good form of, it's not only feeding, this is a good form of enrichment for these guys. So it stops these guys from getting bored, it stops them from getting frustrated. You'd find that if these guys were eating their meals out of a bowl, they would eat them straight away and then have not much else to do. So scattering the food around is a perfect source of enrichment for these guys, because not only does it keep them busy and occupied throughout the morning, it also allows them to behave naturally. You'll find that meerkats in the wild, this is pretty much what they will spend the vast majority of the time doing, is scratching around in the dirt and in the sand, trying to find nice tasty things to eat, trying to find bugs and things to eat. So I mentioned earlier that these guys eat snakes. A snake is a really tasty part of a meerkat's diet in the wild. So you'd look at a meerkat very much like a snake would and think, oh, that looks like a nice innocent vulnerable little creature, that looks like a nice easy bit of prey for me. But the truth is, a meerkat is actually a type of mongoose, and if you know anything about mongooses, you know that if a snake decides to take on a mongoose in a fight, 9 times out of 10 it's actually the snake that'll end up being the mongoose's lunch and not the other way around. So a snake will see these guys and think, oh, that looks like a nice tasty bit of breakfast for me. But meerkats have very, very sharp teeth and very, very sharp claws. And they can take down a snake quite nice and easily. They'll also attack in a group, which is where we get the term a mob of meerkats from. So I'm just scattering this round for them now. This will keep them nice and busy throughout the morning as they scratch round trying to find the tasty things. So they love the mealworms here, they love the cat biscuits, they also love the fruit and vegetables. Like I say, it mimics the natural vegetation. Again, these guys in the wild, they will eat plants. You'll find that they don't actually drink much water. They do have water bottles in here, but you don't see them drinking that often, simply because obviously they're desert dwelling animals, and in the desert you don't always know where your next source of water is coming from. So they'll eat plants, and that's where they get the majority of the water from. Do we have a question?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of questions.
Oh, sorry, I've been wittering on there.
No, that's okay. So we've got Jensen would like to know, what are their names?
So most of these meerkats don't actually have names. We haven't named the majority of them. We have got an alpha female who's just at the back there. Her name's Layla. But the truth is, we haven't actually named most of these guys. So if any of you guys have got any name ideas for our meerkats, do please let us know, and we'll certainly consider them.
We've got another question as well from Graham, just asking what sort of bugs are you giving them?
So these are some live mealworms that we've got here. So we do occasionally give these guys a live feed, so I can show you one nice and up close there. That's one wriggling around there. So that'll be a nice, tasty, juicy bit of food for our meerkats. We do also give them dried mealworms. Of course, they prefer the live ones because they're much juicier and much tastier for them. Sometimes we'll give them crickets, we'll give them locusts. They do get a little variety of different invertebrates that we can feed these guys. And again, they do like to spend a lot of the time in the wild digging around in logs and in the dirt looking for nice tasty bugs to eat. So it's a really good way of mimicking a natural diet for them.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Mike. So I think we are now going to head up to Lemurs and see what Amy's up to. So thanks very much. We'll see you soon.
I'll see you at Wallabies.
Hi guys. So we've got quite a few people joining us now. So I'll say hello to a few of you. So we've got Louise, we've got Kat, we've got Sasha, Catherine, Carmel, David, Claire, Leanne. Quite a lot of you have joined us this morning, so thanks very much. Like I say, we're heading into lemurs now, so if you've got any lemur questions, just let me know and I will ask Amy when we get in there. So we're just going inside now, guys. So these guys have just woke up as well, and we are now joined by Amy.
Hi guys, good morning. I hope you're having a nice Friday morning, enjoying your breakfast. I'm just about to give the lemurs their breakfast, so Ty's just helping herself in the bucket, which is quite normal. So our lemurs get a nice, tasty variety of vegetables here at the park. So I'll let you have a quick look in the bucket. So we've got some nice lettuce, we've got some peppers, we've got some butternut squash, we've got some cauliflower, some celery. So we like to give them a little bit of leafy greens in the morning because it's really important that you guys eat your greens. It's really important that these guys eat their greens as well. So out in the wild, our lemurs would naturally eat the fruits from the trees, but they'd also eat things like the bark. Hello. They'd eat things like the leaves. They'd also drink the tree sap. They eat things like nectar, even small bird eggs, insects, spider webs, lots of different things. But we don't actually give them any fruit here at the park. What we do is we feed them a vegetable-based diet which mimics the natural content of their wild diet. So just look like your mums and dads might tell you not to eat too much sugar because it's bad for your teeth, or you might get a little bit chubby. It's the same with our lemurs, so they might get a little bit overweight if they have too much sugar, and it also might be bad for their teeth, and it can cause things like diabetes. So we don't tend to feed them any fruit here unless it's a treat, maybe some ice lollies in the summer months, or if we need to get any medication into them, if some of them are a little bit poorly, it's always a little bit easier to do in a grape or so. Right, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to pop the food around the enclosure for our lemurs. Hopefully you'll see them being a little bit more active. And we've got 4 different species of lemur in here now. So our red-bellied lemurs joined us a couple of months ago. So there are 2 boys, Rufus and Bramble. Sorry, Lou's just getting behind the camera there. So see if you can spot those two as well, because there are two new additions. So I'll start popping some of the food out for them now. Come on, guys.
So we did have a question a little bit earlier, Ronnie. How many do we have?
So altogether we've got 9 ringtails. So our ringtail group is our only breeding group. So you might be able to notice there are 2 smaller ringtail lemurs, and there are 2 pups that were born during, well, just before we went into the first lockdown actually. So Primrose and Tom, who are just on the edge of this tree here watching Ty eat the food. And then we've got our 2 black and white rough lemurs. So we've got Ty, who's just sat on the A-frame just chomping down on some of their tasty breakfasts, and we've also got her mum Olive, and then we've got our 2 black lemurs who are just behind us here. So Ziggy is our male, and he's all black in colour. He's just currently scent marking the rock on the top there. And then we've got Quintana, who's our female, so she's all brown in colour. So that's just because they have something called sexual dimorphism, where the males and females of the same species are 2 different colours. And then, like I said before, we've got our 2 red-bellied lemurs as well. Since it started off when I first woke up this morning, we did think we were maybe going to have to replan our live video, because our lemurs definitely do not enjoy the cold, the wet and the wind, which it was quite a lot this morning.
So Sid says hi. Hi, Sid. Amelia saying hi as well.
Quintana limping away. So Quintana is our lowest ranking female within the enclosure. So that means that she often does voice the fact that she's not happy that Ty's getting all the food and she isn't, which is one of the reasons why we spread the food all around the enclosure in lots of different areas, to make sure that they all get something nice and tasty to eat, and it's not just Ty getting everything.
Into every single point.
Olive over here as well now. So this is Ty's mum, so she's a little bit older. And she's 19 years old. And our 2 oldest lemurs, who are Mary and Alan, who a few of you guys, if you're regulars at the park, might know, they're both still inside. So there are 2 of our ringtail lemurs, and they're 22 and 19. So they like to stay inside a little bit longer in the mornings.
Got Amelia asking, do they make noise?
They do, yeah. So our black and white rough lemurs, so they're the ones that I was just talking about then, so Olive and Ty, they actually make a really, really loud noise. So they do a territorial call. And all of our lemurs come from Madagascar, so that's an island off the southeast coast of Africa, and they're what we call endemic to Madagascar, which means they're found nowhere else in the world apart from there. So the only other place you can see them is in zoos and wildlife parks like this one. And they live in more mountainous areas of Madagascar, which is why they've got that lovely fluffy coat. And they live right up in the tops of the canopies, and they do this really, really loud call, and it's basically them sort of saying that this is their territory and to not come near. Now out in the wild, they need to be heard over a vast amount of area, whereas here in our enclosure it can sound quite loud. It's sometimes a little bit intimidating, especially if you've not heard it before. Now our black and white rough lemurs think they're doing a fantastic job of keeping all the other black and white rough lemurs away with doing their territorial call. Little do they know there's not that many of them in the Peak District, so they don't need to call that loudly that often, but they do. Our black lemurs, so Quintana, who's up in the tree, and also Ziggy, who's just still scent marking a different rock now. They do like a more of a grunting noise, and they also do quite a loud shriek when it's an alarm call if they're scared about something. So if we have birds fly over, or hot air balloons, or helicopters and planes and things like that. And then our lemurs, our ringtail lemurs, they do like a little chirping noise to each other, and they also can purr as well. Ty, why don't you go and forage for your food? And the Redbellies do a similar sort of little grunting noise. Theirs sometimes is quite cute, sounds like a bit of a sneeze. It's very adorable. But yeah, they all make lots of different communications, and they do sort of communicate with each other quite a lot. They are very social animals, so it's important to keep them in groups like we do here rather than by themselves. That was the pigs making a noise. You mustn't be very impressed that the lemurs are getting their breakfast before then. So this is one of our red-bellied lemurs. So this is Bramble. And these are the two new boys that we've had. They've got absolutely beautiful faces. So the males have red bellies underneath, whereas the females, we've not actually got any here at the park, have white bellies underneath. So they're quite easy to tell apart. So the red-bellied lemurs and the black lemurs, they would eat more insects as well out in the wild, and things like nectar and small bird eggs, as well as the fruits and the leaves and the bark and things from the trees as well. So I don't think you guys would like any little grubs for your breakfast. I'm sure you saw the meerkats digging into theirs earlier. You've probably got some nice cereal or toast for your breakfast.
I think she's made her way around to every station this morning.
So Ty is what we call our most dominant lemur in here. So we're saying that Quintana was our lowest ranking female and Ziggy's our lowest ranking male. Ty is our highest ranking female. So the lemur world is a matriarchal society, which means it is the females that are in charge. So for example, in our ringtail group, Alan, who's inside at the moment, he's our breeding male. And he's the highest ranking male in the group, but he's still lower ranking than any of the other females. So it's all the females ranked first, then all the males. So Ty, she takes it upon herself to make sure she lets everybody know that she's in charge. So that includes chasing everybody around the enclosure to kind of make sure that she's boss and she gets all the best bits of food. So normally their breakfast feed would be predominantly leafy greens, which they don't always love. So they tend to eat more of the root vegetables than they do their leafy stuff. Kind of a bit like us, because it's a little bit sweeter and nicer tasting. So we've added a bit of root veg this morning just to make sure that they actually came out with the weather how it was when we first woke up. So they're probably quite excited that this feed's got a little bit of a nicer variety than their normal breakfast feed.
Perfect, thanks Aim. So I think we're going to move on to our last stop of this video now. So we're going to go and head into Wallabies, and I think that we are going to go and meet Mike again. So he's now moved on from meerkats and he's now in our wallaby enclosure doing his morning routine in here. So let's go and take a look. Again, if you've got any questions guys about our wallabies, then please just pop it in the comments below and I can ask Mike for you as well. So, hi Mike.
Okay, hello again everyone. So you're now meeting me in the wallaby enclosure. As you can see, we've got our nice little group of wallabies here who are very much ready for their breakfast. So I'm just about to get them their morning feed, and you're about to see them all come over.
Looking a little bit soggy just from the rain earlier this morning, so they'll dry off really nice in the sunshine.
Okay, so as you can see, these guys are all very keen for their early morning breakfast. So what I'm giving them at the moment, this is just something called a macropod pellet. So this is something that's actually specially designed for wallabies and kangaroos. And it's just basically, it's like a cereal. It's probably very similar to the cereal that some of you guys are eating this morning. Except these guys won't be having it with milk or eating it with a spoon. We're just going to pop it straight in the trough for them, and they'll come and help themselves to it if they like. So, got a few already lined up here at the trough, waiting for the breakfast buffet to be open. Come on, guys. We'll just spread it out nicely, and they've all got plenty of room to come over and take their little bit. So like I say, this is just like a dry pellet. It's like a cereal for these guys. And it just basically consists of all the sort of nutrients that these guys naturally need to keep them good and healthy. So in the wild, wallabies could more or less completely live on vegetation. They eat the grass in here a lot. You'll notice they've got a nice great big grassy enclosure, and they will spend a lot of time nibbling on the grass, very much like these guys would do living in the wild. That's what they do. If you go around just sort of munching on vegetation all day long. We'll also give them some nice leaves. Willow and ash are trees that grow around here that these guys like to eat. Obviously this time of year there's not many leaves on the trees, but they've still got the grass to eat. You can see some of them have even still got a little bit of grass hanging from the mouths from where they've had their early morning snack.
So we've got Amelia asking a question, sorry Mike. Yeah. Are there any baby ones?
We haven't got any joeys in the enclosure at the moment. It's not quite baby season for these guys. It's normally around sort of end of winter, early to mid-spring is the time when we'd normally start to see joeys appearing. We have got some younger ones. You can see that we've got some smaller wallabies here that are lining up along the trough. So they are younger ones. Some of those guys were born earlier this year, but we haven't got any babies in the pouch at the moment. We won't expect to see that until around sort of springtime. But yeah, these guys do spend a lot of time eating vegetation. That's why some of them might not appear quite so hungry just yet this morning. They might have just filled up on grass a little bit earlier, but they do have plenty to keep them going throughout the day. So in the wild, again, these guys mostly eat leaves, they eat grass, they eat most things growing. They're completely herbivores. And again, these guys, oh, something made them jump. They're quite skittish, so sometimes it only takes a little noise for them to jump. They're very easy prey in the wild to dingoes and jackals, so it's so they do run away quite easily. It's just their natural instinct. As soon as they realise there's no danger there, they're straight back over. And yeah, have we got another question?
Yeah, so we've got James asking, what are their names?
So again, a lot of these guys don't actually have names at the moment. We've got, we do have a little celebrity over there by the tree that you'll notice. We do have an albino wallaby that lives in this enclosure whose name's Bambino. But again, a lot of these guys don't actually have names at the moment. So again, if you guys have got any name ideas, do feel free to let us know. So yeah, also with urbanisation these days, wallabies are actually starting to go more into towns and cities. And they are actually starting to eat more food than they shouldn't naturally be. They're starting to raid people's dustbins. So it's not as unusual these days as it was to see a wallaby munching on a packet of Jaffa cakes. They will start eating things that they shouldn't do now due to so much urbanisation. But these guys can actually go for days on end without eating any food. Again, they live in very sort of arid desert regions of Australia, so they can go for quite a few days without eating anything. Their body's just designed that way because they don't always have that vegetation to eat as they're wandering around. But they're certainly nicely fed here. They certainly enjoy their pellet every morning. I think a few more of them have just started deciding they're a little bit more peckish. And they are very cute guys. These guys are very popular here at the park. Everybody loves the wallabies.
I hear them just crunching away. It's very cute.
You know, these guys like a nice sort of crunchy food. Again, they've got very long teeth designed to gnaw at branches and bark and things, so it's so they don't mind having a nice crunchy breakfast. It helps to put the teeth to good use. And they're a little bit soggy this morning. It looks like they've been out in the early morning rain. They have got shelters to go into, but they obviously decided that they fancied to stand out in the rain this morning. But it looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day now, so they'll soon dry off in no time.
We've got a question from Claire just asking how many are there?
So we've got 10 that live here at the park, so I think they're all here at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, we've got one who hasn't decided to join us for breakfast. Oh yeah, we've got one just over there by the mound who obviously has decided that she's not quite hungry at the moment. Again, that's fine because this pellet that we give them is an important part of the diet, but it's not the main part of the diet. Like I say, they do eat lots of grass, and we do bring them natural leaves and that grow around, so they can just keep going on the grass all the time. So it's completely up to them if they want to come over for the pellet or not, but they usually decide to, because as you can see, it's very nice and tasty for them, and they do enjoy coming over for it. But it might also be because we're here filming. She might be a little bit camera shy over there. She might decide to come back over once we've moved away.
So I think that's everyone's questions answered. So
Okay,
thanks very
great.
much. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll have our next live video on Monday morning at 8 o'clock again as another breakfast show. So if you'd like to join us then, we look forward to seeing you. Thanks very much, guys.